Greetings and salutations, good friends. So I just got off of work, and because of that, the lighting situation that I try to use isn't going to be the greatest. Nor is the microphone. Unfortunately, the microphone I tend to use is giving me some issues, so I got to use the onboard microphone. This is not how I want to shoot a video, but when you're low on time, you just want to get this out of your head, you do what you got to do, right? So with that out of the way, last week, I put out a video talking about my views, as well as an apology, for the Justice League Snyder Cut, coming 2021 to HBO Max. Subscribe today! So, they say never read the comments to your videos. I succumbed to temptation, and I did. And there weren't many, but there were a few, and the few that were there weren't all that positive. But, one describing my rant, which is what I do. It's what I do, and it's what I do best. Is kind of prickish. And I'm not going to lie, when I get going on this kind of topic, I can tend to be more on a jerk side, more pessimistic side. And yeah, I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to argue or defend anything. All I'm going to do is stand by what I said. Hell, if I didn't want to stand by it, I would just take the video down, right? But I'm not going to do that. In the end, I stand by what I said. But the comments left did put me into a thought. Why was I being so pessimistic, so negative, when in all honesty, I view myself as being a more optimistic and positive person? It's just that when it comes to stuff like this, my negativity is a little bit easier to come out. So why is it about this that gets me so negative? Comes down to two things, but in a way it's more or less one, really. One of those being I've grown jaded. I've grown jaded towards DC movies, live action movies. And that's not to say that each movie doesn't have something good in them. They all do. They really do. Even the bad ones as of recent. First one that comes to mind is Green Lantern. Oh, that one hurt. I mean, that one really hurt. It's not like Green Lantern, any one of the 500 that there are exactly my favorite. I just thought it was a really good opportunity that unfortunately got squandered. It got wasted. The potential trilogy that was going to be the Green Lantern movies was quickly just dropped, and for good reason. But then you get movies like Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League, but I was going to say Suicide Squad. All those movies have made me become more jaded towards DC movies. To be fair, each one does have something good in them. And in the end, with all that in mind, it's not so much that I'm jaded towards it. It's more like my expectations are just really, really low. So when a movie like Suicide Squad comes out, I'm surprised at how decent it is. But I will say I enjoyed it. But I'm not going to say it's a movie I am clamoring to go out and see again. Same with a lot of these other DC movies, with one exception, but I'm going to get to that. But then you get really good movies, and I mean legitimately good, like Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Shazam, and Joker. We got Wonder Woman 2 coming out soon, and, let's keep this ball rolling, DC, come on. But in between Wonder Woman and Aquaman, you got Justice League sitting there. A movie that was fraught with problems, arguably before Zack Snyder made his exit. So, I did see the movie yesterday. I had the day off yesterday, and I thought to myself, maybe I need to revisit this movie. Maybe out of all these movies, I need to do actually research. Research is good. Research the movie and see what it was. What is it about this movie that makes fans just so angry that they want to see a different version, the supposed real version? I say supposed, I'm going to get to that. And after watching it, I have to say, it both got better and worse over time. Oh, God. The CG, honestly, is what really stuck out the most to me. I mean, yeah, the story wasn't all that great, and Steppenwolf was a really lame villain. I mean, really, this is the villain who's gonna get the Justice League together for their first out? I don't know who it was originally for the Justice League. As far as I know, the Justice Society had Starro, but I could be wrong on that. I'm not the big comic historian I should be, I guess. But I watched the movie again, and in all honesty, it kind of gave me hope. It gave me hope for what a Zack Snyder cut could be. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I got negative towards a Snyder cut because I was jaded. I was jaded towards DC films as a whole. But then again, like I said, my expectations were just low. And when movies come out that are actually, they surpass them by a lot, they're really good in my eyes. But in the end, I've grown jaded towards Zack Snyder as a director. I just don't like what he does. He's very stylistic and good style at that. But when I ask myself about any potentially good Zack Snyder films, aside from Watchmen, I can't think of any. I really can't. I want to. I want to believe that every director has something good in them. But then after I get past Watchmen, there's 300, which I just can't stand. I get why people like it. It's just not for me. It's just not. But then I remember that Zack Snyder was still the guy who made the movie Sucker Punch. A movie that looked so terrible, I didn't watch it. And guess what? No one else did, and that movie bombed hard. And I mean hard. And then you get Man of Steel, and then Batman vs. Superman, and apparently he's the guy everyone goes to for DC movies. And I kind of get it, sort of. But, it would have been nice to see what his original vision would have been for a Justice League movie had certain things not happened. But now, despite all that, we're getting the Snyder Cut. I still apologize. I post a video saying it's not going to happen, and then a week later it does. They announce that it's coming out. I think it really was within a week, minimum or maximum a week, no more than. I released video, and then they say it's going to coming out. Boy, was there egg on my face. So, yeah, I'm still apologizing for that. But I'm not apologizing for the fact that I still think it's I don't want to say it's going to suck. But I'm going to say it. Fuck it. I'm just going to say it. It's going to suck. Someone did say, the other comment that I did read said that it's not going to suck any more than what we got. And to be snarky about it, yeah, being a 5 is better than being a 4. Okay, but again, I do want to say though, after revisiting the Justice League movie yesterday, I do actually have some decent hope for the movie. I'm still not going to rush out and get it. There's got to be more of a reason for me to get HBO Max. I think you can get all the Doctor Who series on it, and that alone makes it interesting. But I'm going to need more than that, unfortunately. I'm going to need more than that, and Justice League is not a reason. It's just not. But I will say I do still have hope. And here are 3 things that I'm very hopeful that they can fix or redo in the Snyder Cut. Number 1, the CG. Oh my God. This movie came out just a few years ago. And there's been so many achievements in CG. And this movie comes out, and I'm going to take from Rob Walker here, brother nostalgia critic. Here's some bargain basement PS2 graphics for you. And yes, harsh, but not too far from it. There were a few moments that was very much like that in that movie, but honestly, I'm not going to say that the face for Superman was bad. It wasn't great, and it was noticeable. But I have to say, if it wasn't pointed out to me that that's what happened, I don't think I would have noticed. It wasn't great. It wasn't, completely flawless, like the de-agifying for Samuel L. Jackson and Captain Marvel. Or there were a few others that where they've done some de-aging and they looked okay. The most decent one ish was Patrick Stewart in X-Men Last Stand, but then once he started talking, boy, was that noticeable. But again, it's the CG it was Cyborg's CG that really looked bad. It was it was very much Will Smith in Aladdin. His head just kept floating around. It's like they didn't really know how to sync it to the rest of the body or something. I'm no CG artist in any way, but you don't have to be one to notice a bad effect. And that was a real bad one. There were other moments, the parademons were the backgrounds weren't all that great, but in the end though, I don't really care all that much. To me, CG still hasn't gotten all that much better since Jurassic Park 1. In many ways, with a few exceptions, of course, don't get me wrong, a few exceptions like Avatar and a few others, CG still hasn't gotten all that much better since the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. But I don't know, maybe I just don't care enough. I mean, hell, one of my favorite movies, it's a guilty pleasure to be sure, and it's goofy as all hell, but The Last Starfighter is really one of my favorite movies. It's a lot of fun, and the effects are terrible, especially by today's standards. And hell, even by back then standards when the movie was made. Check out any screenshot of The Last Starfighter, and yeah, I mean, that was a movie that came out, it had to have come out sometime after Tron. Tron could get away with this bad CG because it's all supposed to be in a computer. But Last Starfighter is supposed to be realistic and out in space and all that. And oh man, it was bad. But there was a charm to it. There was fun to it. So for me, bad CG is noticeable. But in the end, as long as there's something interactive with it or some kind of fun to it, then I can actually let it go. I don't care that much. But sometimes it's just so noticeable, like cyborgs, that I just hope that's something they fix. I'm pretty sure it is. But I'm going to throw this one out right now. I am not someone who goes looking and digging and researching for interviews and all kinds of web pages to indicate what's coming up with this movie. As I mentioned before, I come from a time when this kind of thing didn't exist. When a movie was announced, it was going to come out. When a trailer was made, there was nothing we could do. And when the movie came out, that was it. That was it. It was done. You either like it or you don't. If you're lucky, sometimes you get a director's cut on video. But now we live in an age where apparently if enough people complain a lot, then changes can happen. And we also live in a time of major information accessibility. And I've come across a couple of things on my Google feed that pops up. Hell, all you need to read is a headline and they tell you everything there practically. You can read more, but oh my God, I gotta say, sometimes I'll read some of these things and they repeat the same stuff over and over again. I mean, I'm not one to say repeating is bad. I know I'm guilty of doing that a lot. But, the one that I did come across that did seem kind of interesting was Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman coming across a room where it shows a picture of Darkseid. A really good picture that does inspire a little bit more hope in me. But to me, that struck me more as a end credits kind of scene. Even if they fix Steppenwolf, even if they continue to keep Steppenwolf as the main villain, hey, with what's going on with this movie, I could totally believe they totally change it to him being Lobo. Why not? You just CG whenever someone says Steppenwolf, or you replace that whole person with someone and they just say Lobo. It's totally possible. I don't want it to be Lobo. I'm just using him as an example. But if they keep it with Steppenwolf, I hope so, because I really don't think this would be the best time to bring in Darkseid way too freaking early. It's kind of like with the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. Bringing in Green Goblin in the first movie was way too soon. I don't know who would have been better, and I think it was fine for that time, but bringing in a really big heavy hitter like that, Too soon. A little too soon. So bringing someone like Darkseid, a flippin' god, if not god-like, that soon? Yeah, it's a level to which you want to bring all the heroes together, but too soon. But saying that he's out there and acknowledging him in the ways that they did in both that one and Batman vs Superman was enough. That's all you need to do. Just tease that he's there, just like what Marvel did. Wait a minute. DC copying Marvel? No, that can't be it. Okay. Pessimistic, negative. Okay, try not to do that right now. Point is, number one, I really hope they fix the CG. Number two, please, this was a big one for me. Please bring back all the cast. I will give the movies this. The casting for these movies have been actually really good, with the very clear and unforgivable exception of Jesse Eisenberg as Luthor. I'm sorry, but that is something I cannot let go of. I mean, CG, bring in Kevin Spacey again from Superman Returns. His creep level factor right now is so high, it would really be good. Bring him in, he would do great. If you want to keep Jesse Eisenberg, fine, but tone down his goofy fucking cartoon appearance. That one I'm not going to take back my negativity on. I'm very grateful they left him out entirely of Justice League. That was the worst fucking part of the Batman vs. Superman movie. I could forgive a lot in that movie. But every time I saw Jesse Eisenberg, every time I heard the name Luthor and I knew they were referring to him, not only was that a major problem, it just allowed all the other problems to become much more noticeable and hard to ignore for me. Replace him and bring everyone else back. Again, I mentioned this before. Ben Affleck as Batman was absolutely incredible. And I can't believe I forgot this one, but Jeremy Irons as Alfred? Fucking A, man. I want a movie with just them. Just them doing their thing. I don't care who they fight. Fight Clayface, fight the Penguin, fight the Riddler. I don't care. Just have those two do their thing. It's freaking awesome. Gal Gadot, obviously really good. Jason Momoa was another one that surprised the hell out of everyone because that wasn't the kind of Aquaman everyone knew and was expecting. But then once you got him, and then you see Aquaman, it's like, holy crap, this guy's really awesome. Conan can really be Aquaman. Yeah, throwing that one out there. Look up the recent Conan movie. That's Jason Momoa right there. Ooh, I didn't see that one. I didn't hear anything good about it either. And then Ezra Miller was really good as the Flash. I hate the fact that I can't recall the name of the actor who played Cyborg, but he was really good too. Everyone was good. Except the guy who played Steppenwolf. But him, I want to say, with him doing a voice and not so much a performance, a voice actor is still an actor. Do not get me wrong on that one. A voice actor is still an actor. They still have to emote inflections and, give a believable performance. Him, not so much in this role. It wasn't all that great. But I think that's still redoable, especially for it just being a voice. Now, do not get me wrong. Once again, a voice actor is still an actor. But their role, especially in that role, can be redone in a day or two. They just reread their lines, do a better performance, and then email it. Dude can seriously do it in the comfort and safety of his own home if it's, buffered out well enough. Wrong term. But, you put in enough padding in a room, you can make a really good sound studio, and then, you reread the lines. And, Zack Snyder's even there doing his Zoom thing, and he's doing his best to try to direct through that. That cannot be an easy thing to do, but who knows? Maybe it is nowadays. I don't know. But, you redo that, and you redo the CG. You just make him more menacing, and the movie can be a lot better. The parademons were fine. I didn't mind their designs. They were creepy. They were potentially frightening. And, swarm of nameless, faceless monsters like that, I thought was actually really cool. Very much like Chitauri. The Chitauri from the first Avengers movie. Very much so. I'm not going to say which one's better or worse. I'm just saying the idea was clearly there, and I didn't mind it. So yes, better CG, bring back the whole cast, including Ben Affleck. I know he's not doing Batman anymore, but this is still kind of the same role, the same movie that he did already do. Reshoots do happen. They happened for the movie already. Why not again? Why not again? As I mentioned before, I don't research this kind of thing. If it pops up in my Google and I read it, you can't unread it. There you go. Done. But oh God, I really hope they do. I just really, really do. Now lastly, number 3. Another thing that pops up in my Google that I can't help but read is that evidently there's supposed to be more characters in this movie that were going to be, but then were cut. After having watched the movie again, I have to say, I really hope they don't. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoy Martian Manhunter, and I really enjoy Green Lantern. So bringing them in somehow would be good and cool. And if they can make it work, great. But they had to, in that movie, they already had Batman, they already had Superman, they already had Wonder Woman, and they had mentioned briefly the rest. So you didn't have to explain too much about Wonder Woman, Batman, or Superman. But then you have to go into the backstories of Aquaman, Cyborg, and Flash. You gotta do that. Which is unfortunate because that just elongates the movie. And it slows down the momentum, and it's clear that they have to cram all this stuff in as opposed to give them their own movies like Marvel did. In their own way, I give them credit for not doing absolutely everything like Marvel did, but it's also clear to me that they were just trying to get the movie out as quick as possible to compete as much as they could. They jumped the gun. I think everyone has acknowledged that, everyone I've spoken with anyway, has acknowledged that they did that way too soon. Having Batman fight Superman for 8 minutes in a 2.5-hour movie was enough. It's another way of reintroducing a character, Superman, and then bringing in new characters, Batman and Wonder Woman, and it was fine. It was feasible. It was understandable. I let it go. But then, I mean, you had to cram in. Oh, God. It was very painful to watch the Aquaman scenes in Justice League when they're clearly trying to get a major exposition dump, especially between him and Mira. Oh, man. I mean, these were... all they were missing was the line, "as you know." If that's not noticeable, I am a fan of Nostalgia Critic. So a lot of what they did and said in their reviews of those movies has influenced me. I will admit that. But having seen the movies myself, I have to agree with some of these things. I still think the casting was really good. The effects showed promise. And the story... yeah... can't really defend the story all that much, or the choice of Steppenwolf. So, with all that in mind, I am actually fairly hopeful for the movie. I would like to think that between Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers, seeing the demand for this movie, they're going to do what they can to make it good. At least I want to hope. But again, I'm very jaded. My hope is there, but it's very low. There's not much of it. It's still Zack Snyder. I mean, this is kind of like when people really wanted Bryan Singer to come back to the X-Men movies. Last Stand was... but then Days of Future Past was actually really damn good. It had its problems, of course, like any movie does, but it was still really good. Apocalypse, though, was not. Dark Phoenix, I couldn't see. I didn't go see. And I haven't heard anything good about it either. So it's kind of like, do fans really know what we want? Sometimes it's clear we do. And sometimes we actually get what we want. But I just don't know. I really, really don't. But I could be the jinx here. I mean, I said there wasn't going to be a Snyder Cut. It was never going to get released. And then it did. And then I said the movie was going to suck. Maybe I'm the one that needs to put that negativity out there into the universe so it can be changed into positivity, and then the movie's really good. No one knows anything. I still think it's going to suck, but that's just based on previous knowledge. and the aforementioned jadedness. So, like I said, I'm not going to get HBO Max. It's not worth it to me. If I hear enough good about the movie, then I'll do what I can to see it. But my hopes are there. They're just low. Plain and simple. I mean, when I was watching the movie, I was really watching it, looking to see how could they not only mention these other characters, but introduce them and then have them in it. It was a pretty jumbled movie. It was very crowded, I'll say. I'm just sitting here putting positive thoughts out in the hopes that the movie's better than I fear. But then again, fear would mean I care. And I really don't. If that makes me a prick, fine. I own it and I admit it. But I'm not going to sit here and apologize for having said negative things about it. People have. It's kind of what what YouTube's about now. There's positivity and there's negativity. And me, when it comes to stuff like this, I'm pretty negative. You know, you tell me Wonder Woman 2 is coming out, I'm excited. Aquaman 2, I'm excited. Shazam 2, I'm excited. Anything Justice League, anything Zack Snyder, no. Just don't care. Man of Steel was the last straw for me. I saw Batman vs. Superman because I was hearing back and forth on it, but I waited until Justice League came out on home video or streaming or whatever you want to call it these days. So that should tell you. So before I go on any more, 30 minutes later, I will say this. My expectations are low and my hopes are low, but they are there. So we'll see what we get. We'll just see what we get. And until then, I'll catch ya on the flip side.